Hi everyone and welcome back to chapter 26, An Unexpected Visitor. It's Edinburgh again and we're back to June 1897. Lucian Silver's Emporium was the talk of Edinburgh and far beyond. There were days when the shop was so busy that he barely remembered a face, the stream of customers becoming a blur of smiles and compliments. But on the first anniversary of the Emporium's opening, Lucian was introduced to a face he would never forget. He had placed an advertisement in each of the city newspapers, announcing that entry to the Emporium would be free. On the day itself, Silver sat at his desk near the red velvet curtain, nodding to passing customers. Many of them commented that it seemed impossible that so many wondrous rooms could exist in such a stick-thin little shop. Near the end of the day, someone approached the desk. At first, Lucian did not look up from his book, but then he heard a familiar voice, deep and firm and cold. "Hello, Lucian." Vindictus Sharp had not aged a day since their last encounter in the rainy Edinburgh graveyard. This did not shock Lucian. In his travels before he settled back in Edinburgh, he had discovered layers of magic that were hidden to all but a select few. Magic that could unlock the mysteries of life and time and the universe. He was more certain now than ever that he knew the secret of Vindictus Sharp's long life. Sharp was stealing the future from innocent people, stealing time and adding it to his own life. Lucian stood. He had been waiting for this moment for a long, long time, to be able to rub his success in Sharp's face, to show him how wrong he'd been. He had actually stayed awake at night imagining exactly what he'd say if they ever crossed paths again. This was the chance. Something shifted behind Sharp. He moved aside and Lucian's eyes met those of a second person. The young woman was perhaps a year or two younger than Lucian. Her skin was fair and freckled. "This is Michelle, my daughter," said Sharp. Michelle held out a porcelain hand. "Pleasure to meet you," said Lucian. "But I don't recall your father ever mentioning a daughter." Sharp sat on the edge of the desk and began examining one of Lucian's fountain pens. "There are a great many things I did not mention. Michelle has been in boarding school most of her life. I travel the world, and that is no way for a young girl to grow up." "Well, what can I do for you?" he asked. "What brings you to Edinburgh?" "Business," said Sharp. "I am booked to perform in Edinburgh for 1 month. Word of your work has reached me from the Magic Committee." At this he glanced round the shop. "I could not resist stopping by for a peek." Lucian smiled. "Then a peek you shall have." "I'd like that very much," he said. And so Lucian led the way, taking great delight in the pair's amazement, using every opportunity to remind Sharp how the idea for the Emporium was born in the very same notes he had dismissed as nonsense. 2 hours later, when the tour was complete, Lucian watched Sharp and his daughter stride down the narrow street. He was sure of 2 things. Number 1, he had surpassed Sharp in every possible way. More importantly, Sharp was aware of this fact, and it would eat away at his insides. This thought made Lucian very happy. And number 2, Michelle Sharp was nothing like her father. She was kind and warm. It was the next day when Michelle returned to the Emporium. "Oh, I had to see it all again," she confessed. "I couldn't believe it. It's remarkable, impossible. I couldn't stop thinking about your Emporium." They walked the shop's ever-growing number of corridors, and the day passed quickly. As she left, Michelle said, "I don't think my father likes you very much." Lucian replied, "The feeling is mutual." "You're not scared of him the way everyone else is, are you?" Michelle said. "No, being frightened of him is only giving him what he wants." And Michelle turned away, walked through the door and out into the cool Edinburgh sunshine. And we'll see what happens next in chapter 27. Bye!